Hello, welcome everybody. This session is about ICT for disaster preparedness. In this session, we will discuss following two main objectives. The first objective is to understand the concept and measures of disaster preparedness, and the second objective is to understand the role of ICT in disaster preparedness with some case examples. So, what is disaster preparedness? Disaster preparedness is the readiness of government, organization and communities to respond constructively against the threats from the hazard to minimize the negative consequence for lives and properties. The aim of disaster preparedness is to build the capacities needed to efficiently manage all types of emergencies from response to recovery. The major preparedness measures includes preparedness planning, emergency exercise or training, warning system, emergency communication system, evacuation plan, resource inventories, mutual aid agreement, and public information and education. ICT provides vital support for disaster preparedness through observation, monitoring, recording, processing, sharing, networking, communication, and warning dissemination. Disaster preparedness planning is a set of instruction that the disaster management authority can follow to issue direction to their rescue and relief team and affected people. It developed based on predicting the risk of hazard and the possible impact. GIS plays an important role to determine the hazard zone, establish response priority, develop contingency planning, and carry out research and rescue operation effectively. Recently, Bangladesh government has prepared the city-level earthquake contingency plan for its three major cities, namely Dhaka, Chittagong, and Sylhet. The contingency plans are prepared based on the earthquake risk scenario developed through hazard and vulnerability assessment in terms of scale and extent of damage and disruption that may result from a potential earthquake. The earthquake hazard and vulnerability assessment is executed using Hazus software package, which operates through GIS application. In a disaster situation, there is no doubt that timely warning allows people to take action that save lives, reduce damage to property, and minimize human suffering. However, the best practice of early warning system needs widespread and consistent availability of accurate and current data for monitoring potential hazard and assessing the risk. Information technology plays the crucial role in receiving, classifying, analyzing, and dissemination of information for generating appropriate warning about the hazard. Remote sensing and GIS have become integrated, well-developed, and successful tool in disaster preparedness in the form of monitoring, forecasting, prediction, measuring, and mapping of various impending disaster events, and help to disseminate the early warning. The table shown here are some examples where remote sensing has wide range of application in disaster preparedness from hazard monitoring to early warning. The Indian Meteorological Department, New Delhi, is one of the regional specialized meteorological center recognized by WMO under the global system of monitoring tropical cyclone. It keeps constant watch on Arabian Sea and the Bay of Bengal for likely genesis of tropical cyclone with the help of satellite imagery from Indian geostationary satellite. As an international commitment, RSMC New Delhi issues tropical cyclone advisory messages 4 to 8 times in a day to its member countries like Thailand, Myanmar, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Maldives, and Oman. In November 2007, when Cyclone Sidor hit Bangladesh, the message relayed by RSMC New Delhi to the authorities of Bangladesh 72 hours before the impending crisis, which in turn triggered Bangladesh government to sound the alarm. Again, the available data and information should be effectively transmitted from origin to end user, passing through several stages. The communication technology plays key role to keep the flow of real-time data and information in this exercise. Many communication tools, both traditional and new, are currently available that can be effectively used for disaster warning purposes. Some of these communication tools may be more effective than the rest, depending on the nature of disaster, the region affected, the socio-economic status of the affected community, and their political structure. However, the common goal is to passing the disaster warning as quickly and as accurately as possible. Bangladesh is one of the examples who has a very organized cyclone preparedness program and early warning system with radio communication facilities. In November 2007, when Cyclone Sidor hit Bangladesh and when the message relayed by RSMC New Delhi to the authorities of Bangladesh 72 hours before the impending crisis, a simple early warning system that used local volunteers shouting through megaphones to warn people about the impending cyclone that saved millions of lives when Cyclone Sidor hit Bangladesh. In the same way, GIS provides a versatile platform for decision support by furnishing multi-layer geo-reference information and use as a tool for hazard zoning and evacuation planning. CyberCity 3D, one of the Google Earth's largest 3D building content, offers realistic three-dimensional building and city models through the Google Earth API plugin. The City of Los Angeles Emergency Preparedness Department has recently mapped out tsunami hazard zone in the Venice and Marina del Rey neighborhood. When driving in the vicinity of these neighborhoods, signage demarcating tsunami hazard zone is clearly visible. Viewing this data in Google Earth with CyberCity 3D city model provides an informative and visually simulating overview of the areas threatened by tsunami waves. A comprehensive resource inventory on availability of specialized resources is very important for mobilizing the specialized equipment and skilled human resources to respond immediately during disaster. GIS and Internet provides a useful platform for the preparation of human and material resources available for response and for sharing the information during the response to an event. The Ministry of Home Affairs India has developed the online inventory of emergency resources in the name of IDRN or India Disaster Resource Network. The IDRN is a web-enabled and GIS-based national resource inventory for collecting and transmission of information about specific equipments, human expertise, and critical supplies database from district level to state level to provide availability of resources essential for disaster response. Internet provides a versatile platform for public information and education on disaster. A well-defined website is a cost-effective means of rapid and global dissemination of disaster-related information. For disaster preparedness, access to Internet permits continuous update of disaster information, accounts of human and material resources available for response, and state-of-the-art technical advices. The UNESCO Bangkok office has developed a website to serve as a portal on Internet resources about education for natural disaster preparedness. The website is well defined and systematically categorized for different groups like educators, youth, researchers, policymakers, practitioners, etc. With the appreciation of very important role of ICT in disaster preparedness, I would like to conclude the session here. Thank you very much for your kind attention.